What is up, yuns? It's Over Here Boy and Yellow Boy with Bros, Brews, and Botches, and today we're going to be talking about the King of Sports, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and All Elite Wrestling's Forbidden Door. Yeah, it was a show. What'd you think about it, man? Yeah,
Hey, you know what? A great pay per view. I mean, they might as well called it the Forbidden Curse because this show was super cursed with all the injuries that
oh,
plagued it before it happened. But I mean, I can't be upset with how the show went. Even though it was 5 hours long, it didn't feel like it. So it's a great show to me.
yeah. To be honest, man, I thought it was going to go a lot longer than it did. I was expecting one of those 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time shows, and it didn't go that far. So hit for me on that purpose.
Same. It wasn't the long slog that Revolution was.
I wouldn't say Revolution was brutal by any chance, but I mean, dude, by the time it was over, we were just like, oh. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Anywho, yeah, I guess we're just going to jump right into it, man. Like, I know there's a couple of matches on the buy-in. We'll cover through that. The one thing I will say that I thought that it didn't really progress anything. It was just kind of, I wouldn't say the matches that were thrown together made sense. Like, the people worked well together, but like there was a few instances where it actually furthered like AEW storylines, and we'll touch base on that stuff too as well. But
Yeah, I think that'll be later on because there was definitely a single thread that was moving into their next show, and they did it specifically for blood and guts. But we'll
right.
get to that, I guess, when we get to it.
But oh yeah, on the buy-in, the first match was the QT Marshall and Aaron Solo versus Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto and the Bishamon. Um,
Yep.
yeah, man, what did you think about this match?
I mean, you got AEW Dark's finest with the Nightmare Factory, or they're not the Nightmare Factory. It's
Just the
what else? QT.
factory. Just the
Yeah,
yeah, just the
uh,
factory.
the factory with QT Marshall. So Marshall, sorry, didn't want to offend QT Marshall, but it it didn't hit for me, but the wrestling was impressive. Like some of the stuff that I seen on there was pretty impressive, and I wrote some notes down. But overall, I did like the match. I'm pretty sure I was in the middle of doing multiple things at the time, so I know that you probably had more notes than I did on it.
Yeah, I took extensive notes at the beginning, and then I just realized, like none of it really advances much. So I just kind of started taking more spot notes than I did
Yeah.
anything else. But I mean, this match I thought was pretty good. I did laugh when QT Marshall tried his little cartwheel thing, dive over the top rope, and he absolutely pulled a Brody King and landed on the apron. And dude, Taz and Excalibur even blew him up about it. They're like, yeah, maybe there's a reason why he doesn't do it very often. And they were laughing. I was like, that's cold blooded of him, man. Yeah,
Oh,
but
speaking on that, I'm sorry, I didn't
no,
want to interrupt, but
go
speaking
ahead.
on that, the best thing about that, because you spoke about it just a second, the commentary, and we had talked about it off camera.
Oh
The
yeah,
commentary team, even though there was different commentary crews throughout, and I'm not a big fan of like the 4 or 5 man commentary crew, but specifically on their commentary team, Kevin Kelly from New Japan Pro Wrestling World joined the commentating cast, which was a breath of fresh air. Kevin Kelly does a great job, so I was very highly excited to hear his voice on this entire cast, and it wasn't just for the buy-in.
yeah.
So
As far as the match goes, QT, he always calls the diamond cutter because it was gifted to him by DDP, supposedly. He tried it a few times on Yoshihashi, but, didn't connect. And then finally, Solo came in, and him and QT Marshall hit back to back insecurities on him, and then he was able to hit the cutter
mm-hmm.
on Hashi. But Goto comes in and saves, and then QT goes to the top rope and he tries to hit a 450, and he like completely misses, dude. And then also Solo came right behind it, missed as well, and then she hits him like with a. There's a lot of like targeting in this show. I noticed like a lot of like
Yeah.
working body parts, and that's more along the New Japan style. But hit him with a drop kick, and then at the end, Goto got tagged in, and they did like that double beat down where they beat
Right.
both him and QT down, and then they hit the Shoto, which is a kind of like a spine buster, like whatever that move Big Show used to do, like the final cut or whatever it was.
Fine. Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
yeah. So they did that while Hashi came down with the power bomb, so they got the win over that. Pretty much, it was an entertaining match, a good way to start the buy-in on it. So I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that.
Nah, there's 4 matches on the buy-in. They really packed this buy-in to
Yeah.
the brim. Like there was no, if you're a fan of WWE and you watch nothing but WWE and you watch their pre-show when they used to have matches, their matches came like maybe 1 or 2 and they were sparing. The first 30 minutes was just nothing but promo packages, and
Right.
then they did like a couple of matches. Not this. The buy-in was just match, 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 and then it was the show. So the big show. So yeah.
And then, right, going right forward, I guess Lance Archer was representing New Japan in this match because he went against Nick Camarado from the factory. And I'll ask you what you thought about it in a second. But, dude, like Archer right off the cuff cannonballs, dude, like it's out of nowhere. Bum rushed him, and it was like awesome. And then hit him with a couple of like those big show style frying pan chops on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, Camarado tried to press Archer over his head, which was impressive because Archer is not a little dude by any means.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I'd like to see more from Nick Camarado. I think that he needs to get away from the factory, but that dude's over. Every time he gets out there, people cheer him. So I call him Mike Knox Jr. because that's who he reminds me of with all that hair and a beard like he did back in the day.
The guy. I mean, from obviously he's one of the NXT performers who got cut and sent away or whatnot, and just the transformation of what he looked like then to what he looks like now is night and day. And that man, if to steal some words from Booker T, man, he is jacked, baby. He is jacked.
Yeah, dude, like he definitely
Real jacked.
put on some size, and he's got like the whole Bruiser Brody beard and hair thing going, and it's just all over the place. It's awesome. One spot I do want to touch base on, then I'm going to pass it to you.
I'll go for it.
Is I thought Archer was going to go for the Undertaker old school, and then he turned it to a moonsault, and I was like, man, that still, dude, Archer impresses me with some of the stuff he does, even though sometimes I think he might hurt people, or it looks like he might. So I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, what did you think about it?
I mean, you just don't expect a guy who's 6'8" to, be that agile. Like they used to say that about Mark Calloway, but Mark Calloway wasn't doing a moonsault off the top rope doing that old school. He's doing just the straight hit. Lance Archer, Lance Hoyt, because I know if JR was on commentary, he would have called him Lance Hoyt the whole time, as JR does. But he's super, yeah, he's so impressive, Lance Archer. He deserves to be a little bit more in the spotlight than what he is.
Right.
But as far as the match, big beefy men slapping meats is what you. If that's what you want out of life in a match, then that's what you get. You're getting big beefy boys slapping meats. However, like the conclusion came, I did see that the conclusion came with Lance Archer. I mean, it's always impressive to watch Lance Archer hit the blackout on anybody, but Camarado's a big boy.
Yeah, I mean, he got him over. I mean, I know there might have been a little help, but dude, there ain't a whole lot when you're just dangling up there.
Right.
You might try to do like a forward flip motion with it, but I don't know. I'm not a worker, man. I know like Disco Inferno has heat with people that talk like they know, and I don't know, and I don't claim to know. I just know what I see because it's from a fan's viewpoint. But
right,
man, what'd you think though? I did pop when Camarado hit that power slam because it reminded me of Dr. Death when he come out of the corner when he held him and then came down with it.
And it just came down.
Yeah.
Again, Camarado is no small guy, and I think that they can build around Camarado if they get him out of that the AEW dark spot
Yeah.
and start really putting them in. But this is what happens when you have a bloated
Super bloated.
roster. Yeah, but it comes in handy because there's a lot of injuries that's occurred on this show. We'll talk about one later on as well. But yeah, I mean, again, for a buy-in match that's free on YouTube,
Yeah.
can't be upset with it.
No, it's killer.
Yeah,
So the next match was Swerve Scott and Keith Lee versus El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. And that pops me, Kanemaru does, because he comes out there with that bottle of whiskey. You know he's going to put it in somebody's face. And he might have in this
yes.
match. Yeah, what do you think about it, man?
Hey, you know what? Swerve and Our Glory, they've had their kind of outs because the last pay per view was it the last pay per view or was it on
You talking about
Dark
the
where
battle
they
royale?
Battle Royale? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was, the Battle Royale where Swerve turned on Lee or whatnot. So you're wondering if there's seeds of dissension and are they going to be able to coexist? And they did the before match promo, and still it looks like there's a little seeds of dissension. But I love Keith Lee, and Swerve Scott has swag that cannot be denied. Unfortunately, they brought him in. Hey, look at our shiny new toys, and then rampage they go.
Yeah.
I wish they had a better spot than what they did, but again, as far as the match, it's I love the chemistry between Lee and Swerve. They seemingly have great chemistry together. I've seen a little bit of Desperado before, but Kamanaru I have not seen. So just watching them um, definitely gave me a little bit of insight to how they work, and it's kind of excited about it. But what did you think about the match, man?
Yeah, the Los Rudos, man. So I always enjoy El Desperado and Conemaru, man. They're just fun to watch to me. And Conemaru always, he didn't do it this time, but he usually steals on people before the match gets started when they're doing their entrance or whatever. He'll be right up on them with a chair or something like that. But man, there was one spot here I thought was awesome. I mean, you see the Spirit Bomb and he catches people. Keith Lee does a lot, but the thing I
Mm-hmm.
thought was awesome is Conemaru had him in a figure four, and Desperado had Swerve in a um, stretch muffler. And
Mm-hmm.
Keith Lee palmed El Desperado right on his face and like picked him up and threw him over on top of Conemaru to break the figure four up. And I was like, dude, that guy's a hoss and a half, man. And
That's a
we
strong. That's a
yeah
strong guy.
yeah, and we haven't even seen the I don't think we've seen even the surface of what he's capable of, but the figure four hit because they had been working Lee's knee the whole time, like small drop kicks and dragon screws and things like that. So it worked out. But towards the end, Conemaru hit the whiskey mist, the Satori surprise, as it's called, all over Keith Lee's face and tries to go for a pin. It gets broken up, and then while Lee's kind of like staggering around on his all fours, Swerve takes off running, jumps off his back, and kicks dude. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. And then, of course, then Lee puts him up on his shoulders and hits the big move, which I can never remember the name of it.
The
Uh,
Big Bang Catastrophe.
the Big Bang Catastrophe, and it was a
The
wrap.
BBC man.
Yeah. And
The
it was a
BBC.
wrap. It was a wrap. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me pop every time they say Big Bang Catastrophe.
One thing I did laugh about though, and you may have caught it, I don't know, you were kind of back and forth, but Ricky Starks and Hobbs started talking to him, talking to
Yes.
Lee and Swerve, and then Hobbs was doing what Hobbs does, and then started eating popcorn and handed it over to Ricky. But Ricky called Swerve the cinnamon stick from Apple Jacks,
Yeah, I heard that.
and then called Lee a broke ass Phil Banks. Oh my god, dude! I
Hey,
popped. Me and Hogs Wars popped so hard when that happened. I was like, dude, that's ridiculous. Yeah,
which I don't think they're going to position Hobbs and Starks. I mean, especially what we're going to talk about later on in the show. I don't think they're going to position them into a championship title feud with the champions, only because it looks like they're just going to be deadlocked in this feud with Swerve of Our Glory or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Um, which is sad because I think outside of that FTW title, Starks needs something else, and Hobbs definitely needs something else to just kind of elevate them. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon unless they move them to ROH and have them vying for some ROH titles. So, but yeah, it did pop me listening to him call it, especially the cinnamon stick man from Apple Jacks. That really popped me.
Dude, that's hilarious. Um, the next thing was the LA Dojo with DKC, Kevin Knight, Alex Coughlin, and Yuya Yamura
Yep.
versus Max Caster and the Gun Club, including all the guns, Colton, Austin, and Billy. But they came out there, dude, and I was crying at Max Caster because right off the cuff, he said that the LA Dojo, he was cracking all of them, and then he said that they washed Shibata's balls.
Yeah.
That popped me. But then what happened, man? Did you know what happened after that?
As far as the rap or him,
Oh, somebody gave Austin and Colton a present, man.
oh, you talking about the new theme song for the Gun Club, aka the Ass Boys, everyone's favorite Danhausen,
Yeah.
pops up on the Tron and gives them a message and said he gave them a gift of a song, and I can't remember the song, but it was just basically calling them Ass Boys.
I'm gonna give you a gift. Yeah, dude. And then of course, when that happens, Colton and Austin deuce out to leave Billy and Max Caster in the ring, which it went like a typical tag match at that point, where Max Caster was playing the underneath, coming back, and then Billy was basically in to get the hot tag, and
it was a father son team building exercise between Caster and Gunn.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and
But
the one thing it did pop me. I don't mean to get back, but is when
no, you're good. You're good.
Colton and Austin came out, and of course they were like, "Hello, Tokyo Dome," and Max Caster's like, "No, bro," and then the others like, "Oh no, I got this." And, hello, Green Bay.
Green Bay.
And then of course it goes back to how come I can't think of his name?
Yeah, if you wouldn't have Anthony Bowen.
Anthony Bowen, yeah, that he actually did it and popped the crowd with him and
Scissor me ass, daddy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But yeah,
it
man,
pops the crowd every time.
What'd you think about the actual match itself, man?
I mean, number one, Billy Gunn is a freaking stud. Like him being in the ring with all the young boys, which if you don't know what that is, young boys are the LA Dojo. These are newer recruits to the New Japan Wrestling, and before they become a full-fledged, if you want to make it equivalent to WWE, before they become a full-fledged superstar, they're young boys.
Young Lions.
Young Lions. I'm sorry, Young Lions.
Yeah, because of the new. No, it's because of the New Japan thing. That's the only reason why I remember is the logo with the lion.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, but
yeah, Young Lions. But Billy Gunn standing in there at what, he's 50 something at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's in his 50s. The man still looks great, and he towered over them boys. I mean, just made them look like small children. And again, like I said, it was an exercise in having Billy Gunn and Max Caster kind of grow, because like I think it's on Dark and on BTE, you can see that the true Guns, Austin and Colton, are trying to win Billy's affection, but Billy's affection is into Platinum Max and Anthony Bowen. So the Acclaim, he really likes the Acclaim, but he can give a toss about his boys. But anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, Gunn comes in, like cleans house at the end. I mean, the Young Lion crew, they definitely did it. And that's the thing about a Young Lions match, too, is almost everybody that's a part of that, up-and-comers, they always put them in black trunks, man, like the old school black boots, black knee pads, black trunks, just like the most, so they don't stand out or they're different from anybody else until they build their own personas and go on about their careers, if they have them. But man, dude, they Max Caster came from underneath a lot, was getting the crap beat out of him, and then Billy Gunn eventually gets tagged in, and then it becomes the Gun show after that. I mean, he hit everybody with that Cobra Clutch Slam, and then
Hmm.
finally he tried to hit a famouser once, and then it got blocked or reversed or whatever. But then he acted like he was going to put Coughlin in a pile driver at the end, and then he was kind of taunting to the crowd. Then he did the DX chop, and then Fame asked him,
Yep.
and that's it, dude. So I mean, it was a match.
Right. I mean, it didn't suck, and the fact of the matter is, you would have thought that because of the excuse me, the numbers game, that Max and Gunn had a disadvantage. However, I guess the psychology that they're trying to play off of is the fact that Billy Gunn is still the wily veteran, and despite the numbers game, Billy and Max can win. And I guess it furthers their story with, you know, him winning the affection, whatever.
Well, and it made sense too, because when I was first watching it, I was kind of getting aggravated. It's like, really, dude, you expect me to believe four dudes to lose against two, but when you think, hey, they're young lions, they're still just getting their grips and terms, even though they're talented. Billy Gunn figured it out. He's like, okay, I can figure out how to divide and conquer by doing X and X and X, which he did, and then that was a wrap. So,
Right.
yeah, it
Yeah.
worked out. But enough about that bullshizzles. It's time we on to the main show, baby. Very
Main
first
card.
off the cuff was Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki versus Shota Umino, Wheeler Yuta, and Eddie Kingston. And this match popped it off, son. It was
Yeah.
awesome match right off the cuff, dude. Yuta was, channeling his inner Kurt Angle, and he must have hit what, six in a row German suplexes on
Six
Jericho.
Germans.
And then
Mm-hmm.
he hit him with an angle slam right to a crossface. I was like, dude, like Yuta's starting to get. He's starting to grow on me. I didn't think that he fit really in with the Blackpool Combat Club stuff at first, but now I can see, okay, he's a little more technical than I gave him credit for. But yeah, man, what'd you
I
think
like how
so
you
far?
hooked it.
Yeah,
I like how you hooked in that angle slam. Like, it was just seamless, where he just kind of roped it, and instead of just putting him on the shoulder and flying, he roped the arm and hooked the arm to
yeah,
do the angle slam over, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Um, then, of course, if you're going to have Eddie Kingston and Minoru Suzuki in a match, you know that they're going to be extremely hard chops, just trading of chops back and forth to make people's chests look like ground beef. And that's all that happened between Suzuki and Kingston. They traded chops back and forth. And of course, looking at Murder Grandpa enjoys that kind of stuff, and
oh
he
yeah,
adding it on. Um, and what was it? There was a part in there where everyone started going to the outside. That everyone was doing shooting stars and
oh yeah.
tope suicidas, and like, was it Minoru Suzuki? Looked like he was about to. He was like, I ain't with
Yeah,
that.
he took off running and he was pandering to the crowd. Then he took off and then he ran. He's like, and then like, dude, it was just perfect. He knows how to get a rise out of people, man.
He really does. I mean, I heavily. If you want to kick off a show and kick off the main show, I think this is a perfect way, and the crowd was definitely behind this match. But what did you think about the match as well?
Oh man, it is everything I wanted it to be. It's exactly how I knew the three against the three, because they're trying to further a story between Jericho and Umino. Umino,
Umino.
and yeah. So when Kingston got in there, it would always be big hits against the Suzuki, and then Wheeler Yuta and Sammy Guevara, back and forth. Kind of a clash in styles, but that's kind of like the matchup there. And that cool spot where all three of them, um, the Jericho, Suzuki, and Guevara had those submission holds locked in. Like Jericho
Mm-hmm.
had like an abdominal stretch, and on Kingston, I believe, was it Kingston? Anyway, no, it was on
So
Shota, I believe, and then Suzuki had the octopus hold on somebody, and then Guevara had a crossface on Yuta. But I thought that was a neat little spot. And then, yeah, man, I mean, Kingston was basically showing his Japanese wrestling chops with he had an exploder and an STO at some point in there, and yeah, I mean it was all good fun, dude. Like,
I mean, again, how much did the crowd pop when uh Umino put the walls of Jericho on Chris Jericho? Like the
yeah,
crowd, like this is a coming out party for Shota Umino. Like
hmm
the crowd just went nuts for him as he was, performing. I mean, the backstory, of course, if you're watching it, is that he's the son of Red Shoes Uno from New Japan, the referee, and this is he would, you know, beat up Red Shoes, Jericho did, and then put Shoto into the walls of Jericho. How long ago was this? Was this 2 years ago? So
yeah,
long term booking.
it was 2 years. Well,
Long term
it may
booking.
have been longer than that, dude, because
Yeah,
it's when Jericho was still wearing short tights. So
yeah.
it must have been
So
right after his feud with Omega, but not quite
yeah,
his Naito feud.
yeah.
But
So it's been a while.
yeah, man, what about that back fist that Eddie Kingston threw on Suzuki though? He
I
blast,
didn't think it was going to lay him out, but
but he got it back though because Eddie Kingston tried to come in and save his boy, and then he got hooked right in that sleeper and put. Oh, he put that God's power driver on him. It was a wrap for him.
yeah,
And
he
then
did.
I thought Umino was going to go down after he got cracked with the bat, but then he eventually got hit by the most protected move in wrestling, the Judas effect, baby. One, two,
It
three,
was Judas effective.
and then the heels won. Yo,
Yeah. It was a very AEW centric, to me, it seemed like a very AEW centric show because a lot of the AEW heavy teams were getting a lot of W's here. Um, but I think it also did a good job at some point, also trying to further some of the New Japan storylines as well. At
right.
least a couple of them. But good match,
Yeah, man.
good starter.
The second match was the dual championships for the IWGP and the Ring of Honor titles. Again, it was Roppongi Vice, United Empire, which consisted of Great O'Khan and Cobb, and then FTR. So it started off with Dax Harwood and Trent, and man, they just went like back and forth with like old school technical side headlocks, that kind of thing, and it started off the rails once Cobb kind of tagged himself in, and then I don't know what happened. Something crazy happened right there towards the beginning that caused the Dax Harwood to have to talk to the medical staff or the doctor on hand.
Dex Dex
It,
came off the top rope going for an elbow and hit the mat, and then whether it was a shoot or whether it looks more work than shoot, you know what I mean, because of what happened later. But
right.
um, he hit his elbow and had the doc. Is it Doc Samson that's there?
Yeah, I believe so.
Doc Samson comes out and tells him he had to head to the back or whatnot because he hurt his elbow or shoulder or that area. How about that?
Yeah, and then it basically was Wheeler trying to come from underneath at that point, and
Mm-hmm.
it became more of a Roppongi Vice versus the Empire there for like a brief period of time, and then eventually Dax would come back with his arm taped up. So I mean, it was pretty interesting to see what would happen after that.
And again, think about it like this, and other shows have said this as well. But FTR, when they were in the dub, they were. It was before they left. They got offered a heap ton of money. They got offered the tag team belts there, and the fact of the matter is they declined it. All they wanted to do was work with Randy Orton, and they said, "Nah, bro, we can't do that for you. You can't work with Randy Orton." So they were like, "All right, if that's the case, all we're trying to do is advance the tag team division. And if you can't give us what we want, it's not about the money. It's about the tag teams. We're out." So going from that to where they are right now as the AAA tag team champions and the Ring of Honor tag team champions at this point, you know, and then not to spoil the finish, but what was the finish on this one?
The big rig, baby. Right off the cuff, dude. Blah blah. So that's what makes Yellow Boy believe that Dax Harwood maybe was working the injury on the shoulder. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. I mean, it was good match for what it was. I like how they didn't even mention they had the AAA belts, and I know they wore those out there probably for that purpose because of the heat that CMLL and New Japan has with AAA for whatever reason. And I heard that on Conan's Keeping It 100 podcast because he's the booker there, and said that because AEW works with some AAA guys that New Japan wouldn't work with them. So that's why, you know, you had Andrade and Penta and Ray Phoenix and those guys weren't on the show at all. So in case you were wondering, that's why. But anywho, man, it was a good
Yeah,
match.
that's why you had on Rampage on Friday, Andrade versus Ray Phoenix. That was the only reason.
And then Roosh came out to ruin the day. But that's y'all can look that up yourselves.
Yeah, go check out YouTube where you're at right now.
YouTube. Anyway, next was a little segment with Shivani and Juice Robinson and Switchblade Jay White, and they were going back and forth, basically, you know, doing the gut 3000 to each other. Jay White saying that he, you know, tried to basically be the same or try to make Juice proud by going out there and defeating all these odds because Juice had done it to win his United States title, I believe he has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the New Japan or IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship he won. So yeah. Then after that we go right on to the All Atlantic Championship. Well, they packed it right off the cuff.
Before you move on to that, just understand that Juice does not acknowledge that he is not the champion. Allegedly, Will Ospreay is supposed to be the U.S. champion, but Juice does not acknowledge that, and he said he did not lose the championship belt, so that's why he's still wearing it. And what is Juice's tagline? Because it keeps making me laugh.
Oh man,
what does he say?
It's something about being hard or something like that.
He stays rock hard.
Yeah, that's it. He stays rock hard.
Rock hard.
Stupid.
Like, but you said moving into that 4-way for the All Atlantic Championship.
Oh man, it was a ridiculous match, man, right off the cuff. So this at All Atlantic Championships, a new title that AEW's rolled out for this show, and I'm sure it's going to be going forward. But it was Pac versus Clark Connors, which somebody I didn't know, and he's just basically moved from being a young lion in New Japan to like his own character gimmick, whatever. And then also Aleister Black or Malachi Black and Miro. So right off the cuff, though, it was the Miro show, son. I mean, he was Ultimate Warrior and everybody in that boy. No selling, clotheslining, catching people, jumping off midair, and all kinds of stuff, dude. What'd you think,
Miro? Miro had the favorite. He was the favorite going into this match. Since he had been out for a while and then only coming back recently, he was a big favorite for this match, which he was one of my favorites to win this match. And then you talked about Clark Connors, who is nicknamed the White Rhino, which Hogs Wars made a joke about, but that's his nickname. Don't get it, but hey,
he literally said, "Oh, for real."
Right.
When you said that, he said the White Rhino, and you said, yeah, that's his nickname. He said, oh, for real? He knows sold it. He knows sold it just like he knows sells the Wamplers.
Them sausages, what a great sausage! What darn good sausage! But I will give it to Connors. Connors knew what his role was in this match, and he also, before the match, he did that white meat baby face. I'm just happy to be in this match. I wasn't supposed to be here, and I've got to do my best while I'm in this match. So in my mind, I said, that boy gonna take the pin when he did all of that.
You called it. I said that whenever the result happened, but we ain't told you who yet. But it did happen, right. And it was him. But I'll tell you one thing: the whole time he was getting just the absolute crap beat out of him. But then he had a couple of good spots. He even speared Miro through a table.
Yes.
So, and then he speared somebody else in the middle of the ring. It was Pac, I think, and then hit him with like that big, like basically like a Blue Thunder power bomb right down on his head. And I was like, oh my god, this guy's like bringing the thunder, but you know it wasn't meant to be. Yeah,
No. But he did win the crowd over. By the end of that match, at the beginning of the match, no one really knew who he was, but by the end of the match, people were cheering for him and cheering his name. So that was good to see with with Mr. Connors. But
yeah, because
yeah,
Malachi
yeah, go ahead.
Black broke that powerbomb pin up, and then somehow he ended up having like a leg hold or something. He had trapped Connors, and then Pac come off the top rope with the black arrow on the both of them, and then
Yeah.
and then he put boy in the rings of Saturn, O'Connor's, and
Well,
yeah,
he didn't hit the black arrow. He hit the 450 splash.
that's
He
right.
was
It was the
going for
450. That's right.
He was going for the 450 while he had him. I think it was in a heel hook.
Yeah, but he heel
Um,
hooked him, and they both was lit. Well, no, it was an arm submission, dude. Remember?
no, was
Yeah, he had him in like a arm bar, and then he come off and splashed him, and then like as soon as he did that, Connors came out like clutching his arm, and
yeah, he
Pack
did.
rolled right to him, dude, and hooked that boy
Hit
on, and
him brutalizer.
right off the cuff that boy tapped. He didn't even give it a tenth of a second, son. He was locked into it, and he started retching, tap, and then your champion.
Which makes sense because of the fact that it's all Atlantic, and we know that Pac has had issues with the travel back and forth from the UK. So having him as your all Atlantic champion could mean that he may be defending it, you know, across the pond, which would be good, seeing as how they have 5,000 belts at AEW. You know, getting one of them off of TV and defended elsewhere probably be a good thing for him. But good on Pac because he deserves a title belt.
But then what happens, man? Right off the next, Tony Schiavone comes out, baby. He come and joined the commentating table, and he said he been in the back massaging JR's leg.
I forgot about that.
Yo, he said I've been in the back massaging JR's leg, and then we popped, and then it was a thing the whole rest of the night. But the next match was the trios tag with Shingo Takagi of Los Ingobernables de Japón, Sting and Darby Allin calling themselves the Dudes with Attitudes, or Dudes with Tudes, something like that, versus the Bullet Club.
Here's the attitude. Hey, before you get started, did you notice that they didn't mention Johnny Ace as part of his Dudes with Attitude?
Oh, why not, man?
He
Because
was
take one down and pass it around, baby. That's John Laurinaitis right there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Heat, baby. I'm all about the heat. That's why they call me the Heat Miser. I'm Mr. Heat Miser. But yeah, but there was the Bullet Club consisting of the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo, and then they had Hikuleo in their corner, which originally this match was supposed to have. Why am I drawing a blank?
Hiromu Takahashi.
Yeah, Hiromu Takahashi, but he had gotten ill, and I guess due to COVID protocols, wasn't allowed to travel from Japan.
Or was it? I don't feel like taking the fall. Sickness. Who knows? Because that's a rumor that's going around that he just really didn't want to be there.
And that's fine too. I mean, you know, that guy's probably like, because that guy's kind of, you know, smarmy. But that's all right though. But dude, right off the cuff, man, it was awesome because you know, Darby Allin had come out second, Shingo had come out first, and then Sting came out, and Tony Schiavone, it's Sting! Oh, then it played his music, and then nothing. Like, what, really? And then the Bullet Club comes out. The Young Bucks, Super Kick Party, and then it goes right into the Bullet Club theme, which I thought was cool. And then all of a sudden, the lights go out. And then what happened?
So it was a big swerve because 63-year-old Sting ain't about to. They put a spotlight on the catwalk like he was about to be the Sting of the 90s dropping down from the catwalk. And I was thinking to myself, please, Lord, we don't need this on TV, watching the 63-year-old man fall to his doom in the United Center. But the lights then cut back off, and then cut back to the Young Bucks at the tunnels and the entrance ramp, and there's Sting, 63-year-old, big forehead having, but jumping off with the top of the tunnel onto Olive Bullet Club. And we had just said before it started, said that, Sting's big head gonna jump off of something during this match. And sure enough, before the match even starts, Sting's big head jumped off of something. Before he didn't even do this when he was Surfer Sting. He's never jumped off of this much stuff until he gets in his 60s.
Yeah, he's the dive. That's the dive Sting. That's his era of Sting. Like, if they ever have a video game that goes through all the eras, I need to have a version of him to where his agility is higher than the rest of them. That's this man. Whether he domes himself on some tables or he's jumping off entrance ramp stuff, it's Sting.
It's Sting.
But I thought cool off the ropes when LP was in the ring. It was Takagi and Sting. They were back and forth doing the same stuff. And Sting, buddy, he hit that senton splash like he didn't even care about old boy. He just jumped on, and then they got up.
Probably did.
Shinga did the fist bump out there, and Sting fist bumped him for the LIJ, and I was like, oh, that popped me a little bit, but yeah. And
the goofiness of your boy El Phantasmo with those backflips and everything, yeah, and then tagging in, who was it, Matt?
Yeah, dude, that was hilarious. He's back. Dude. So if you guys can imagine this, if you didn't see the show, like what Yellow Boy was saying, the Bucks were holding dude in the corner. There's Darby Allin. They were holding him in the corner. So El Phantasmo does a backflip, cartwheel, backflips again. Then he starts doing some moves, more backflips, and then he runs over there just to back rake him.
That's it.
And then it was Matt Jackson that got tagged in because he came in and did the same thing, was doing cartwheels, and then he just goes over there and back rakes him. I was like, dude, that's great. But dude, what cracked me up is how much Too Sweet and the Bucks were doing just to rub it in McMahon's face, dude. They're like,
oh, they even said it on BTE today. They said, well, we hope that we don't get another cease and desist for this.
Cease and desist.
Oh, yeah, man. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this match. I mean, no one can no-sell like Sting no-sells. Like,
dude, he got that super kick. Oh, my God. They said black, and he said, he terminated him, dude.
Hit him with a double Stinger death drop.
Yeah.
both Jackson brothers with a Stinger death drop. So, yeah. And your boy ELP, he walked the tightrope on the top rope to do that moonsault.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Which, amazing. Like, it took a lot of balance and agility just to get up there and just walk as far. He walked to the middle of the top rope to do this. So, yeah.
He wasn't holding on to nothing or nobody. But then, dude, after he did that, Sting said, oh, no, I'm going to try to go for this tope. And the Bucks and LP slid in and super kicked his head off his shoulders, son.
Yeah, he did.
he little macked them. He said,
but what was the finish to this match?
Takagi got in there and he was going to hit his finisher, and then he put it up to the A-game version of it and dropped him. He went from the normal hold where he holds him up. So if y'all ain't seen it, y'all get on YouTube. But then he threw him up to the shoulder like that and hit that boy. And it was one
called it Blast of the Dragon.
Yeah, and that was it. He hit him with the big match version of it on it's LP, won't it?
Yeah, it's LP.
Yeah, so LP took the pin.
Yeah.
So the dudes win that, and it was a good little match. But then what happened next, man, is Jericho told Umino told Umino that he respected him, and then your homies over there from 2.0 was over there saying, yeah, we respect you over there. Then what happened?
Well, because Jericho is a wizard, he shot that fireball in Umino's face, and after he told him he respected him or whatnot, that kind of ended the segment back there. And
Yo.
that's where some of the momentum, I'm not going to say all of the momentum of the show ended up stopping because it was still there, but the next match that came up kind of, I think it sucked out some of the momentum for the match because it took all those matches took the breath away of some of these folks. What this man's a wizard. Watch out with that fireball.
Did you
He's a
see
wizard.
that?
Yes, I did.
We got to see it one more time for the crowd, baby. Oh,
he's a wizard.
Yo.
He's a wizard.
Oh man! But the next match, like Yellow Boy was saying, was the crowd. I really hate this too. The crowd was not into it, but it was the AEW Women's World Championship with Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm, and Thunder Rosa being the champion. Now I will say that Rosa's ring gear always is on point when she comes out. She's got like these cool outfits and things that she does, and that's just a throwback to like that lucha Hispanic Mexican culture, and it's awesome, dude. But it's just like, dude, they don't spend enough time building any kind of long-term or good feuds for her. So she's out there giving it absolute hell because she does awesome in her matches. It's just the crowd was not into it. And I don't know if because they came, the wind was took out of them off the previous match. But Yellow Boy, what did you say about this match of where it probably should have been at?
I said when we started watching it and watching the crowd reaction, I said it probably should have been the second match of the card because you had that awesome 6-man tag at the beginning and it was already hot there. Then just roll right into the women's match instead of putting them deep in the card where people are getting a little exhausted and they probably need a match that peps a match that peps them up and everything. But again, you had two real workers in Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm, and they were out there giving it their best. I mean, putting their bodies on the line because I can't remember what did Toni Storm hit. What did she hit on the apron? She hit something on Thunder Rosa on the apron because Thunder Rosa was going for the DVD.
A German suplex.
Yes, it was. It was a snap German. Yeah. She hit her with a snap German suplex on the apron, and I'm like, and the crowd was like, it's okay. It again, like you said, I'm sorry that these women are put in this position, but they wrestled an excellent match. Like, I just wish that they would put more into more women's feuds because they put so much energy into Britt Baker. And then now that she's kind of getting blowback from having so much energy put into her, like in that Charlotte role, they're trying to slowly incorporate. The only problem is that they always stick the women in that 9:30, 8:30 Central spot of, women's wrestling matches where all the women are in the one segment and then that's it. And then until either Dark or Rampage, you don't get another women's match. And then, of course, they put a lot of energy into Jade Cargill. So outside of Jade Cargill, Britt Baker, they need to really start building some other. They're building up Chris Statlander, but it's not to the level of the other two that I said. But match was awesome. Like I said, there was lots of spots that I really enjoyed. I think the right person won the match, but I'm not going to give that away. I'll let you go ahead and go to the fall of this match. But I think the right person did win this match.
Yeah, so like the match was a lot of back and forth, and it were hard hits for what it was. I can't go into a crazy bunch of spots, but like I can't remember what the Thunder Rosa's finishing maneuver is.
Thunder Driver.
So the Thunder Driver, she hits that, and Toni Storm kicks out. But then Thunder hits Final Reckoning, which that's right. That's from the AKA Gold Dust, Dustin Rhodes finish maneuver, and picks up the 1-2-3, which I thought that 1-2-3 was kind of like a out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like some of the other 1-2-3s in this show that was some botch type stuff. But yeah,
some clown show.
Nope.
That's right, man. But yeah, man. So Tony Khan, won't you get like Stardom or some Joshi thing. I'd like to see that, man. At least in NXT/WWE, they had the Mae Young Classic, and they brought ladies from all over the place. I know you could do that, and that's something that I think people would enjoy to see. I don't know if make a pay per view out of it, but I mean, there's definitely a market for that for somebody, you know. Anyway,
We need more Willow Nightingale on our TVs, please.
yes, and not the kind whose dude has trying to support three kids and gets came on by Veer. Wait a minute, that didn't sound right.
The beer's always coming.
But so the
Fear
next
the beer.
match was the IWGP US title with Jew Will Ospreay. Haha, you thought I was gonna say Juice Robinson, but how can he be the title holder? Because he's not, baby.
Oh, and before this match even started, we got good old JR coming out on commentary.
Oh,
And
he
why?
did.
I have no idea because this is not JR's cup of tea.
And JR off the cuff was just a complete hole to people. They were talking, and he was just like, "What do you think they're talking about? That makes more sense." Doggone it.
But the thing is, he came out and said, "Well, I was back there getting my leg rubbed by Tony Schiavone."
That's a shoot.
But yeah, go ahead, man. I'm sorry, I had to throw
No,
that
it's
in
all
there.
good. But it was Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy, which yeah, it was awesome, man.
This might have been the match of the night. What do you
I
think?
I think so, dude. Like it was every time I see Orange Cassidy in a match, giving his slacker persona because that's his gimmick or stick or whatever you guys want to say. He brings it, dude, and he does it when he has his hands in his pockets. And a lot of the stuff he's pulling off, I'm like, he's not using his hands for that. So,
Mm-mm.
or using even the pendulum effect that his hands could and arms could possibly bring him. So that's always um, awesome to me. But man, the thing off the cuff that was hilarious because it was a back and forth, and then he went to the hands in there. And he kept going to Osprey's taunt where he goes down on the ground and does all that stuff. But the
The
fans,
low effort version.
yeah. And then what's the name of the group that's with him? Aussie Open.
Yeah, Aussie Open.
Aussie Open, dude. There's one point in time where Cassidy was outside against the security rail, and Will Ospreay took off running around the ring opposite to where he was, ran into them, and they like catapulted him into a drop kick right on the Orange Cassidy. And I was like, oh my god, it was brutal. But yeah,
Yes.
and then Osprey had that. He had like that backbreaker where he spun around and then like took him down to like that Bret Hart side backbreaker style. Like I didn't expect that. I thought that was pretty interesting too. And I think that even Jr. was popped on that when he said, "I've never seen that before." So if
Oh
Jr.
yeah.
hadn't seen it, buddy, you hadn't been done.
Exactly.
Yeah. So man, what did you
Uh,
think though going into it though? Cassidy eventually came back into underneath style like Ricky Morton, baby.
I mean, again, people underestimate Orange Cassidy because of his character and persona. They don't realize how much of an actual good wrestler he is and the ability to do what he does. Like, granted, he has to turn on the switch and put his hands in his pocket, or somebody provokes him, makes him upset. But I mean, the man had some great near falls. I mean, he hit him with the beach break. Of course, there always that jumping from the top rope, that DDT that he always throws, where he comes from the top rope and come down. And of course, when you got Will Ospreay is a great seller, so he made that move look like
Yeah,
money. It was
he's
brutal.
stuck him, dude. He was a ball.
Yes,
I was even like, oh,
yeah, like it's a brutal looking move, and you got the right person because both of them can sell their butts off as far as each other's moves. Um, I know that Osprey was trying to go for the I popped because he's trying to go for the cheeky Nando. So I remember when he first created that move, trapping the head on the top rope and then super kicking their face against the turnbuckle, and he missed it, of course, on this. But yeah, I mean, the match had high energy and it started off, with a pop, and again, I don't understand why they put JR on this because JR does not like people with gimmicks, and he was surly throughout the daggum show after that for certain things. But I rather enjoyed this. And again, uh, OC deserves more flowers, and this being his first match back after his injury, it's kind of questionable for him doing all these spots and moves and stuff like that and all this, but it is what it is. And the finish, of course, that hidden blade that Will Ospreay, he hit the hidden blade on OC, and OC kicked out. Like, who kicks out of the? I don't even know who kicked out of the hidden blade before that. That spinning elbow that he does, and then he hit Stormbreaker, which Will Ospreay was hitting all of his moves, every single one of
Yeah,
his
for
moves
sure.
that, yeah, the Oz Cutter and everything else that he does in his set, but he pulled out Stormbreaker to beat OC and retain the U.S. Championship, which isn't with him currently. It's still on the shoulder of Juice Robinson. But I thoroughly enjoyed the match. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, man. I
Final
mean,
thought.
that was awesome to me. I can't ever remember the name of that move, like you said, where he ducks the head under the turnbuckle. What was that again?
Cheeky Nando's.
Cheeky Nando's. So if you guys can imagine, it's like a muscle buster, and he basically ducks their head underneath the turnbuckle to where they're trapped there, and then he super kicks them in the face. He missed the first one. He got a little bit of the second one. He actually connected.
Yeah,
But what cracked me up is, he did that, and then Cassidy kind of got up, and then he got beat down again, and then Osprey was like hanging up out on the middle rope, and then Cassidy did like a thing where he did like that, and then he Eddie Guerrero'd on the mat and was just like, "Oh, I got beat up." And then Osprey tried a moonsault, missed. He got another one, and then he hit him with a splash, and I thought that was impressive, dude. So, um, but almost, you know, uh, he hit the beach break on him though.
yeah.
Yeah, so he got like he almost pinned him with that move. So I thought that was awesome. But yeah, man. Osprey, gets the Stormbreaker and wins, and then it became an absolute S show from there. Rapongi Vice came out, tried to help Orange Cassidy, and then they got the crap beat out of him. And then who came out, man?
Well, before that, just know that they came out because of Aussie Open coming in and putting the beat down on Orange
Orange
Cassidy and
Cassidy.
tearing the pockets out of his pants. And
Yup,
of
in the
course,
pockets. Yep.
Jr. makes the comment and said, "Ask if you can buy some more jeans," which made me laugh. And then, of course, um, after that, after the beat down, uh, I'm going to butcher names. You know this, right? I'm a butcher. Shibata came out. I'm just going to say that Shibata comes out like to a huge pop to the crowd. I love that all the fans at this venue know all of the New Japan wrestlers and knows some of the history and such like that. Like, Shibata shouldn't even be living right now if you want to know God's good truth. But the man came out to a huge pop
So
to
so for you that don't know, Shibata and not Shibata, that's a bread brother.
uh
He basically he used to like use a very brutal, straightforward headbutt, and he had concussed himself with this maneuver, and then just years of nagging injuries and things like that. It basically he was told that, hey, you're gonna have to retire. But no, man, he came out, and I guess that's to further a thing between him and Osprey, because he came out there laying waste to people with them punt kick, and then all of a sudden he put the choke up right on Osprey. Yeah.
yeah.
And then what happened though? Orange Cassidy came back, didn't he?
Orange Cassidy came back in and put the sunglasses on Shibata, which I think somebody said that Shibata was trying to get him to come back into the ring after he left Orange Cassidy. He rode out of the ring to let Shibata get all the glory, whatever. And Shibata had called him back into the ring, and somebody said that he did that on the shoot to try to get him to come in and do those low effort kicks to go back and forth with him because he wanted to do that with him to rib just to have fun, but
Oh, he
Orange
didn't pick
Cassidy
up on
didn't
it.
comply. Yeah, Orange Cassidy didn't comply with it. So, um, yeah,
That would have been
12 match
amazing.
show,
Yeah.
12 match show, by the way.
Yeah. And on to
And
the
we're
next. On to the next.
yeah, um,
So, man, I'm gonna
which I
let you bring this one in, man. But I will say that the first competitor was Zack Saber Jr. versus question marks. But who was the question marks? That is.
so this was highly anticipated as far as due to the circumstances being Brian Danielson, of course, being injured, could not compete in this match, which was supposed to be Brian Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr., could not compete. So on Wednesday night, he announced that he would have a suitable opponent for Zack Sabre Jr. to also join the Blackpool Combat Club to fight Zack Sabre Jr. and then on Blood and Guts on Wednesday to fight in the Blood and Guts match. So there have been speculation galore, but I think everybody had pretty much had it down to a T of who it was going to be, but it yet and still it didn't lessen the pop that happened. So if you're under a rock, you don't know, but the artist formerly known as Cesaro or Claudio Castagnoli made his triumphant debut in AEW, coming out with his. I didn't get to see. You said look at the sleeve of his arm and see what was on there. I didn't see what was on the sleeve.
He had the he had a it wasn't the up down down, but it was a video game reference. I may have even said it was like the dragon uppercut maneuver.
Gotcha,
Yeah, the control.
gotcha.
Yeah, so that I know he's all about that, and they rib him on that show about using those uppercuts like that. So
Yeah, nice touch.
yeah, it
And I
was pretty
think
cool.
what was also cool was that there was a rumor going around that the cameraman on the side of the ring was that's all covered up with the mask, and they said that that was Castagnoli, and that he when he made his debut he was gonna take off the mask and stuff and it'd be him. Claudio went and stood beside the guy to let everyone know, hey, two different people. This is not me. Taking pictures and stuff and showing the crowd, like, you see, it's not me. This is just a regular cameraman. Um, but yeah, the crowd was absolutely nuclear
Yeah,
for
nuclear son.
Castagnoli. They really wanted to see Castagnoli, and I think he was done a disservice when he was in WWE. For whatever reason, Vince McMahon did not gel with Castagnoli, and the world. Well, I can't say the world, but his fellow wrestlers knew what he could do. I mean, it's to the point that Becky Lynch posted a picture of Castagnoli coming out to, on AEW television. It's on her Twitter page. She posted a picture of it, and then also Austin Creed posted in regards to it saying "Let's go." So they're showing their support for Claudio, knowing that he's the man's a hoss. Let's just put it out there. The man's a hoss. There was one spot in particular, but I'll let you talk about it. But there was one spot in particular that showed why he was a hoss. But it was a really good match, because if you ain't watched Zack Sabre Jr., guys, go watch some of his highlights. Because if you like people who are very technical and are very smooth with it, like just the transitions and transitioning from one submission move to the next, Zack Sabre Jr. has that down to an absolute science. Like, the man is the professor of those submission moves. So, but I'll shut up talking and let you go ahead and really get into the meat of the match.
Man, there was no meat right off the cuff. Claudio rolled in, hit that like the most realist uppercut I ever seen, and then went right to that Gotch style like face buster pile driver maneuver, and almost beat him. And then
Yeah,
ZSJ said, "Nah, bruh," rolled up out, and a little bit of time. Eventually got to working over the arm of Claudio, but then the, what you were talking about, that strength, buddy, he hit a stalling suplex on him that he was walking around hanging out with him, and then ZSJ even came down, and then Claudio's like, "No, you're not doing that," and then powered him back up, and then wow, just slammed him down, dude. And I was like, I don't care what you say. Not everybody has to look like the Road Warriors to be real boy strength, and he's got that.
right.
He's got that. Let me scoop down and pick up, 5 or 6 5-gallon buckets of water full strength. Walk around with it. But they always went to the giant swing spot, and of course the crowd exploded on that. But when he went the first time, he ended up getting put in the guillotine choke. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. they did a bunch of like top rope type stuff, which I thought was weird. And the Claudio ended up hitting that gut wrench. Um, Tried to do the giant swing again, but then his arm gave out because he'd been Zack Sabre Jr. been working the arm over the whole time, so they only got like 5 rotations on him. And but I think what was awesome is when he first tried to do the sharpshooter on Zack Sabre Jr., he had it locked in. All of a sudden, he rolled through it, and he had him in like clutched up in some sort of weird like side ankle lock submission hold that looked painful as hell. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, that's awesome. I guess it was a leg wrap, but then he had transitioned it to like a type of a figure four. Eventually, Claudio did hit a sharpshooter, but it was weird because when Zack Sabre Jr. was getting out of it, and you even made comment of this, you're like, you never see that dude use a double stomp, and that's how he
Right.
kept him from having to get the whatever hold he was fixing to snatch on him. But that napalm move that he uses, it's like a super convoluted arm. This is Zack Sabre Jr. It's like an
Yeah.
arm lock to where he switches around and then traps your other arm, and then is stretching your whole body. And he got that locked onto him, but he was managed. Was able to get out of it, but because he got to the ropes.
Yeah, he missing the spot that I really, I mean, showing the strength with Castagnoli, he got ZSJ in a, well, ZSJ had him locked into, I believe it was a triangle,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't
he,
even have that in my notes, and I was just too busy being awestruck by it. But go ahead.
yeah, but Castagnoli powers him up to do like the power bomb spot, but then backs up and falls out of the ropes. But ZSJ keeps the triangle on him. Then Claudio powers him back up while they're outside and then proceeds to walk with a grown man, walk around to the ring steps, walks up the ring steps with a grown man with one arm, and then power bombs him into the ring. Like just threw him like a child. Like if that's not strength, I'm like, this dude has otherworld strength.
What does JR
And
say about that though?
I can't remember, what did JR say?
Remember, he said you're gonna wipe your feet before you go in.
Oh yeah, he was so struck with the power. You gonna wipe your feet before you go in the house? And like,
Yeah, he did.
because
He
he was
yeeted
just.
him right over the top rope with that dude. It's awesome.
I'm like, my God, like, and to to know that WWE just kind of sped past him with his ability, just because he's from another country and his English has an accent. I don't get that. He can't do promos because he has an accent. Yes, he can. The man has charisma. If you watched him on The Party with Up, Up, Down, Down, you know that the man has charisma. You've watched him. Even on the show and after the match was over, the man has charisma. But anyway, I don't want to jump the gun on the finish because I didn't remember the name of the the finishing move that he did, which
It was the
looked
Rico power bomb.
Ricola. It was dope as hell. What it was.
Yeah, I mean, power bomb 1, 2, and 48. It don't matter. ZSJ was wrapped, son. So
Yeah.
Claudio, he won that boy. Stepped out and he was talking to the camera, and of course, they couldn't really hear what he was saying, but like Yellow Boy was saying, like, dude, they had him in such generic gimmicks. Probably the best thing that he did over in the E was being that match with the bar with Sheamus, because they had him in like these stupid old gimmicks, dude. Uh, like this suit wearing, like Eastern European looking playboy type James Bond character, and I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, if you know and watch Up, Up, Down, Down, you know that that's not who he is. Let him be who he is, man. And he brought it. Like, I saw a side of him in this match that I didn't think he was capable of going against ZSJ, because ZSJ, for real, y'all should check him out. He's a super technical British strong style joint manipulation type wrestler, and Claudio Castagnoli hang in there with him, dude, and beat the crap out of him. So anyway,
and just some and if I can just give you a little bit of the backstage dirt sheet stuff, but from the scrum,
man.
just to give you from the scrum that happened afterwards, his debut was supposed to be completely different. I also they had been in talks with Claudio for quite some time, to my understanding. So this wasn't just um, hey, you want to come over and do Forbidden Door type deal. No, it was just the idea for Brian Danielson to ask Claudio to come in. The original idea was to have Claudio come in for ROH's Death Before Dishonor pay per view, and due to what's happening with all the injuries, they thought it'd be best for him to jump in now. And from what I understand, he's got a long-term contract that he's signing. So nothing short or anything like that. He's got a long-term contract, which is good. So maybe it's 3 to 5 years that I'm only speculating. I don't know. This ain't a real report, but I'm only speculating that it's 3 to 5 years because most of the folks base contract is 3 years with the option to add on an additional year. So I'm only assuming since he said long term is 3 to 5.
Yeah, and then
Sorry.
he no, you're good, and he's going on to Blood and Guts, and him and Kingston have heat, so that's another continuity issue right there. Which we said
Yeah.
they're furthering a lot of AEW storylines, not so much anything in New Japan yet. So I'm going to start keeping an eye on New Japan World going forward to see if any of the things from this show materialize over there, which I'm sure some of them will, especially the thing with Jericho. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're going to go to the next level. I got to put that match down or that lighter down before I end up. I'll be like groundskeeper Willie on that Treehouse of Horrors or whatever when he got burned up and turned into Freddy Krueger. So have a seat, have a seat, Willie. He said. So the next match was for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and it was Adam Cole versus Jay White versus Kazuchika Okada and versus Adam Page. And this match was a gangbuster off the rails.
Unfortunately, it was struck by the forbidden curse, but we'll get to that later.
Yo. But go ahead, man. I'll let you. Let's get
No,
this
no,
going.
no. I was gonna say that it started off with, of course, because you had two, one current Bullet Club and one former Bullet Club member with Jay White and Adam Cole. They started working
Baby.
together, of course. They're working together, eliminating, of course, Okada and Page. Working together throughout that. Which if you watched Wednesday, you seen that there was a little bit of dissension shown by Adam Cole. You just didn't know when it was going to happen because he grabbed Jay White's belt, was standing behind him. They were beat down with Adam Page, and you didn't know if he was going to hit White or if he's trying to hit Page. So it was just everyone anticipating whether or not that was going to happen. And that them working together was a majority of the daggone match. I think at least a good fourth of the match was them working together, or at least half of the match was them working together, I should rather say. But it all changed when Adam Cole, and to lack of a better term, as one of my friends says, backstabbed Jay White. He did a particular move, I believe, to backstab Jay White. What was that particular move that he used there over here, boy?
Oh, it's a backstabber.
Hey, hey.
Yo. He hit the backstabber and then right with the Oshi neckbreaker thing.
Oshigoroshi.
Yeah, Oshigoroshi said, "Boom," and I was like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is it." And he even two sweeted Jay White, bro. So you're done, son. You better hope you can get the Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa on your side because he's gonna come for you. And two cool BTE United Undisputed Era Elite or whatever you ends up calling yourself now, baby. Jay White is relentless, son. It's a switchblade era. Ain't you seen that? King Switch for life.
Yeah.
That's it. Shameless
There's,
plug.
there's, no, you're good. There's a couple of moments in there. There was another moment that I really enjoyed was that, again, Adam Cole is precise with his super kicks, and watching friggin' Adam Page jump and do a moonsault from the top rope, and Adam Cole with precision just kicked him right dead in the face while he was upside down, which was kind of reminiscent to Ricochet in NXT doing it with Ricochet and him
Trevor
fighting
Man.
for the fighting for the North American Championship, where he did that moonsault off of a springboard moonsault and got caught right in the face, just like that. Like Cole is great with that. And by the way, before I turn it over to the hands of you, let me really get close to this mic. For all of you guys who are body shaming Adam Cole, you try working with a, basically a broken shoulder. Like
Body shame that
you,
baby.
body guy. But this whole week and last week, they were body shaming him and saying he's out of shape. It's a torn labrum, I believe, is what he has. He has a torn labrum and has been working with a torn labrum. So before you body shame Adam Cole, please make sure to see if you can do anything yourself with a torn labrum.
Sucker.
Right. But what did you think about this match?
Dude, this match was everything that I wished it wasn't. No, that's not. It was a good match. Okada, man, he knows how to work an American crowd, son. He had him.
Yes.
He had him right here. I hate to use that old cliche thing, but the people were all behind it, and he was all behind the people. Like it's refreshing to see him work, which is weird because he's part of Chaos or has been for a long time. But he always is like a tweener. He never just does
Uh-huh.
outright absolute heel stuff on people, and he was playing that part very well here. Man, he tried to go for the Rainmaker one too many times and ended up getting dealt with. But what I thought was hilarious, I'm just gonna go to the finish. There's a lot more stuff that happened in
Yeah.
this match, but it's a bunch of high spots. But the finish, man, is what cracked me up because Adam Cole had done some bull trickery to Jay White. Jay White got him back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. So what happened is Okada and Cole were going back and forth, and all of a sudden Jay White slides up in there, hits Okada with the Blade Runner, and instead of pinning Okada, rolls him out of the ring and pulls Adam Cole away from the ropes and pins him 1, 2, 3, and
But I
retains.
want to say that I want to say that was an audible. That I think they threw an audible to that because um I forget which move it was that put Adam Cole down, but Adam Cole was really and visibly shook on the ground. So I think once Jay White hit that Blade Runner, Okada something else was supposed to happen, maybe I think, but he went ahead and pushed Okada, I think, as a audible out of the ring so he wouldn't come in and do the extra of the match and just end it because he hurriedly went over and pinned Adam Cole. So from all reports from last night, Adam Cole suffered a concussion.
That would
So
make
that's what happened.
sense.
He suffered a concussion last night. He did walk out of the ring under his own power, but it looks as though he suffered a concussion. I
Maybe
think,
like I maybe would need to go back and see it, but it may have been that last big drop kick he caught
yeah,
because he
but
did look
Brian
like he caught that
Alvarez,
pretty flush on his face, man. So
yeah, Brian Alvarez reported that it was a concussion. I believe that's who reported it. Said that from his sources, he suffered a concussion. So, no telling how long he's going to be out and suffering that injury bug that's been hitting everyone from WWE to AEW. Um, but that's why it looked kind of funky the end of that match,
right.
the finish, because I think Jay White was trying to protect Adam Cole and make sure that nothing else happened.
But it also furthered like from a wrestling standpoint, like that little stuff that happened between the two of them. But like I didn't know that information, and that's why you're the dirt sheet guy. But I thought it was odd too watching it because I was like, man, Adam Cole didn't really take that high of an impact maneuver to cause him to be pinned. It wasn't like he caught a finisher or anything like that. And it may have even been that Jay White had seen that, and that's why he chose to roll in and hit Okada with that maneuver, then kick him on out and then go over and pin it. So if that's the case, kudos to Jay White for protecting his boys in there.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on the while we were watching it. The evolution of Jay White and to become a veteran like he is, becoming, to have that presence of mind to see what's happened and be like, hey, I'm about to make this audible real quick and switch this up, and let's just go ahead and go home and do that. So, but yeah, that's what's going on. So who knows? I don't know if he's been tested or checked out or not for the concussion protocol, but again, if I find anything out, I will post it on IG.
How about this? If yins are watching right now, there's going to be a thing what's called Shot of Brew, and that thing will probably be on there. Won't you check it out, baby?
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's preempted this weekend, so
I
it's
might
not going
do
to
I
happen
might
this
do a
weekend.
shot of brew in in uh,
Hey,
in 17 1 minute segments where I'm drinking every time and telling you about the beer. 60-second sips. Check it
hey,
out,
yo,
baby.
yo.
Oh, what's all that? Oh, it disappeared.
Well, that leads us into the main. It's time for the main event. Be like Mark Henry. Well, the time for talk is over. It's time for the main event.
For the Hall of Pain main event.
So who we got for that main event?
We had a main event. No,
Yeah,
I'm just
the main
messing with you.
event.
It was the AEW interim champion, which means what? For you kids that don't know, CM Punk decided he was going to do a stage dive for somebody's birthday and blew his leg out. Anyway, and instead of losing his title or relinquishing it, there's going to be an interim champ that's going to have the belt until he comes back. And this particular match is between John Moxley and who?
Your mom. Oh no, 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 my bad. My bad. Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan. He's been the ace for a minute. And for those of you who don't know what that means, the ace is the top guy in a promotion. So, like your John Cena has been over in the WWE, like Roman Reigns is now, Tanahashi has been that for New Japan and still technically is that, man. I don't know if anybody's come and really dethroned him from that other than maybe Okada. But other than that, that guy's had some storied matches and he's all around an awesome dude, and he has hair for days, son. For
That man has a good
days.
set of hair.
He has a good. He
He
has a
does have some.
that man has a good set of hair on him.
Yeah, he does. He got some good
Yo,
hair. Got some good hairs.
he got some good hairs. So the match, man, starts off very technical, dude. It's a slow pace, which I've noticed Tanahashi's been kind of favoring in his older age. I don't know, lack of better terms to say that. His seasoned age, if you will. Um, Tanahashi, got a bunch of headlocks in, and I was like, man, really, they're going to go to some rest holds right off the cuff? But it's a storytelling match, and this whole match was nothing but storytelling, and it was awesome for that purpose, man. Um, I thought it was funny when Tanahashi kept kicking him in the knee, drop kicking him in the knee, and then
Mhm.
Mox called him an MFer.
Mox is
uh,
known for making comments off the
yeah,
cuff.
yeah. And he said some things that I'm not going to say on YouTube, but if you ever watch our Twitch stream and play along with us when we're doing Jackbox games and things like that, you may hear some of that language because it's 18 plus, baby. But it was a whole. He worked the leg right off at the beginning. Um, I don't know what the deal is. I've seen more back rakes in this show, I think, than I have in any match. And then they even went to the commentators, even said, yeah, they used to have to check Ronnie Garvin's fingernails because he always would scratch people's backs just to make sure that his fingernails were trimmed so there wouldn't be a problem there. I thought that was hilarious. But what did you think about it, man? There's some spots I want to kind of talk about, but I don't want to just keep rambling on about it.
No, 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 no. Again, I think if you haven't watched a Tanahashi match or whatnot, I don't know if you would be solely into it because the pace is kind of steady. That it's not always fast, fast, fast like most people are used to. But I did pop for the Uranagi through the table that Mox gave to Tanahashi, which luckily the table broke. Um, which
Yeah,
could have been.
I am table did not apply here. And real quick side note, Excalibur even said, and yeah, that's a maneuver that was made by former Puresu legend Hiroshi Hase. So look that guy up, man. Back in the day, he was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and then there was the don't know how he got busted open from a sling blade, but other than the good old right, a little bit of blading, but apparently hitting the back of your head causes the front of your head to bust open. So, but if you hear that in the background, I have no idea what that is going on. So pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But what did you think?
Meaty men slapping meats. That's what's going on over there, baby. I thought the match was awesome, and I use that a lot, but it really was, dude. Like Moxley, the whole time going up to this, he had this little backstage segment where he said he was going to drop Tanahashi on his head, and he did just that. Also, Tanahashi came back and said, Moxley said, I've been avoiding him for 3 years. No, I hadn't been doing that. It's just because he wasn't to Tanahashi's level. Ooh. And then Moxley said he is the effing forbidden door. Remember when he said that?
Yeah. Yes.
But man, after Mox got busted up though, man, there was a few back and forth inside, and then he hit Tanahashi with like a drop down Death Rider, whatever he calls that maneuver.
Yeah.
Dude, he dropped him
Paradigm
straight.
shift.
Yeah, paradigm shift straight down. It wasn't like a almost he almost does like a butterfly suplex on his where he doesn't really drop him on his head, but I mean he dropped Tanahashi straight down on top of his dome. And then which I thought, may have been it at that point, but it wasn't. And Tanahashi ended up getting a high fly flow cross body, and then hits another frog splash high fly flow off of it. Kicks out, but when he kicked out, Tanahashi rolled off, and Mox rolled with him right into a bully choke, which I thought was awesome. And I was like, dude, that's killer. But the referee the whole time though he was watching, and I was like, isn't the rule that if it looked like to me Tanahashi's feet was under the rope. If your feet are outside of the plane, not necessarily touching, I thought that was a break, but it couldn't. It could be something different in AEW's rules. But I know in the I want to say if your feet's hanging dangling out and you're getting a submission hold put on you, they break it.
You would think that they would break the hold if he was under ropes like most places, but apparently not.
Right. But then he put him in a sleeper hold and into another bully choke, and Tana managed to get out of that after a bit of stuff. He hits Tanahashi with another paradigm shift. And that's a wrap, man. Your new interim champion is John Moxley. So I want to see how that plays out with CM Punk.
And I mean, you have to excuse me, I'm multitasking at the time.
But
I don't know how the fans reacted to the end of the show.
Yeah, they wanted Tanahashi, man, for sure.
Well, I'm just talking about the hijinks that happened after the match. Like, if you watched Wednesday and then again on Friday, you kind of seen what was going on. They're trying to, I guess, promote blood and guts by doing the gang wars, as Sean Ross Sapp always calls it with a Z, gang wars, because everybody come and at least it wasn't as awkward as Wednesday where Moxley and Tanahashi are just standing face to face while all kinds of fighting was going on around them. But I don't think this. I know why they did it, and it was only to highlight Castagnoli, but it just didn't need to happen. And I don't even know who the catalyst was who came out first who started to attack. It was
Jake Hager.
JAS, wasn't
Yeah, it was JAS Hager and all them came out to start. And then it was Kingston, I want to say, and then Yuta.
Yep.
Come out. And dude, to me, like they did not need to play Claudio's music. Sorry, dude, but like they played his music, he run. I'm like, come on, dude. Like They should have held off, and then had him come flying in because people are going to be at the live show are going to be looking towards the entrance to see if there's
Yep.
anybody else going to come out to the fracas. And then because of their response, people watching at home are going to be like, "Oh snap, there's somebody coming," and then that's up to your cameraman to be like, "Oh, okay, we're going to catch this dude running in." So when you play music now,
Right.
it's like, okay, this was planned. That's how I feel about it. Of course, I'm an old school NWA type guy, so to me, I like surprises. I don't need you to play somebody in. But me and Yellow Boy both thought that Kenny Omega would have showed up at some point in time, and he did not, which is odd to me. I get from a standpoint that he's probably not going to be able to do anything lasting, but he was such a pivotal person in both AEW and New Japan. So like to have him completely absent from the show in any capacity to me was just like mind boggling. But that's just me. But yeah, I think it ended with
Well,
as
uh,
Cornette would say, a popcorn fart.
again, we had talked off air or that Kenny Omega had requested to speak to SRS, Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful.com. He spoke with him and he specifically said that he wished he could be in Chicago and he wished he could be on the show. And I didn't know if that was going to be a work or whatnot to where he would show up. But and we had it. I think it makes sense because you don't if he's not completely ready to work yet, you don't want him to come out there and then have that anticipation where okay, is he and then fans kind of fizzle out because they think he's going to come because WWE has done it enough where WWE has had somebody and they promote them and then they don't show up for the show, you lose those buyer rates. So again, this the show ended as it did, and I understand why it did it, but I think they could have shuffled that in to another spot and possibly had if the four way didn't end the way it did, the four way for the IW or IWGP heavyweight championship should could have been the closer, but it is what it is. I still enjoyed the show.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna give it a 60-second sips, a 4 out of 5 caps overall. Yeah, that's right.
4 out of 5 caps.
4 out of 5 caps. That's all I can give
I
it,
can
man.
dig it.
Yeah, I mean, because there were some few things in there. Like I said, there was some dead air type stuff, and what I mean by that is when the crowd had the wind and energy sucked out of them. So I was just like, man, what can you do with it? But it's not any of the competitors' fault. It's just how they had things laid out throughout the whole show.
Well, that's what's funny. I'm sorry, I'm looking at stuff for Monday Night Raw as we were doing this as well. So apparently they had both Brian Danielson and Paul White record messages for John Cena for his 20th anniversary. Forbidden doors open, baby.
It needs to be, baby. That's awesome,
Forbidden
man.
doors open.
So I guess we can get ready to rock and roll out of here, man. I don't know what else to say about this, man. What you know what happened? We told y'all if you want to watch Blood and Guts, you know what's going to happen there because we just talked about it. It literally boosted that show at the end of this show. So I don't know what else to say about that.
What he can say is, hey guys, remember if you're not following right now, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Everything. Click that notification bell so that you know whenever we're going to show something. If you're not following us on Twitch, remember Bros, Brews, and Botches on Twitch. If you're not following us on Instagram, you can follow us at for all of us at Bros underscore Brews underscore and underscore Botches on Instagram. Where can they find you at OHB?
Man, I'm on Twitters and the Instagrams at Over Here Boy, and also on TikToks at Over Here Boy. That's right. There's gonna be a TikToks coming out soon, but we ain't gonna tell you too much. You just have to find it on you for you page, baby. That's it, man. That's all I got. And then, how about you, my man?
And you can find me on you can find me on Twitter at Badass Yellow Boy, BADAZZY underscore YELLABOI. And then of course, you can always find our friend and loved one, Hogs Wars at wamplersausage.com. Farm fresh, it's quality.
And also at your mom's house, buck naked in the kitchen, eating all your Planters peanuts out the can. I'm talking about them dry roasted boys. They come in the tall, clear jar, baby. Ha ha! Yo,
Not the dry nuts.
the dry nuts. Cause he keeps it dry. Well,
Stupid.
if that's it, man, uh, for Yellow Boy, and I have been Over Here Boy, and for Bros, Brews, and Botches, we thank y'all for watching, and we bid you adieu, and all that stuff, and Scooby Doo, baby.